In this video, we share what we've learned so far owning our 2005 Jeanneau Sun Odyssey.
Well, we're back in Truckee, and we've been here long enough to get our Christmas decorations up, our tree up. It's snowed over 20 inches. We've been out cross-country skiing, so there are some cross-country skiing videos coming really soon for those of you who are interested. Yeah, we've had a great time out in the snow. But we wanted to share just a little bit of the end of our trip in Channel Islands Harbor and our time on Rejoicing. We just had a couple more opportunities to get out in the ocean and wanted to share those with you with this video. But we also wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about what we've learned by buying and owning a used boat. We thought maybe we knew more than we did know. But we've had Rejoicing for about 2 months now. 6 weeks of that, she was on the hard. We live 500 miles away from our sailboat, and you know, that eventually will be okay because we'll get caught up on maintenance and repairs, and we'll be more experienced at sailing. Blair has had a lot of sailing experience when he was younger. He's raced small sailboats, but I had no experience at all. So just having that 6-week gap was really tough for me. And but I think we'll definitely get there. And yeah, so what are some things that we've had to do, honey?
So between on the hard and things that we've done, I'm just gonna rattle through it real quick so we don't bore you to tears. But these are the things to pay attention to when you buy a boat, because our boat looks beautiful cosmetically. Yeah. But the batteries needed to be replaced. We did 2 lithium for the house. We did an AGM for the engine. It turns out that requires changing. It was beyond what the boatyard could do. So they recommended an electrician who this next week is going to do what's needed for that. But with those types of batteries, usually you need a new battery charger and some other interconnections. She needed her anti-fouling paint done, so the boatyard did a beautiful job with that. The boatyard replaced one of the port windows that's just a regular view window. That was leaking pretty darn terribly. When we washed the boat, we were shocked how much water ended up in the bilge and how wet everything got inside. One of the through holes the seacock was frozen. That one needed tremendous servicing. There's other through holes. Actually, the boatyard said all of them will eventually need replacing. And it turned out it's not cheap, at least if they do that. Basic things, propeller, a couple of anodes were replaced. That was simple. 3 electrical outlets were upgraded to GFCI. Her old name was removed, Haliatus, which means
Osprey.
Osprey, that was the prior owner, and now she's Rejoicing, of course. We also just found a 6th seacock. Just as we were putting the boat away, Celia was doing all kinds of stuff in the lazarettes, you know, getting old stuff out. And so I was digging around down below, and there's this cool area behind the shower that's just like this amazing extra storage room.
Huge.
And then, oh, look. There's a sole board that I pull it up. There's this giant seacock. Who would have thought? So I have no idea what that seacock does. We'll find out next time we're down. We, on our own, we're going to replace the dinghy. It's about 10 years old. We're also going to go from a very heavy Mercury 8 horsepower outboard motor. That sucker weighs 84 pounds and uses gasoline. Going to an electric motor that weighs 25 pounds. Yay. And then has about an 11-pound battery.
We'll go quite as fast, but we don't need to go fast.
Yeah. The road for the anchor, there's 100 feet of rusted chain. We're going to have to still address that because we want at least 300 feet. That's what every professionals recommend we have. And then in terms of electrics, there's quite a few issues with the Rain Marine electrics. We're hoping and praying to get those up to speed, but it's going to take a while. And then a big ticket item is going to be replacing the standing rigging. not done since she was made in 2005. So we have a great rigger. He's already, you know, been clear that, you know, with a couple of months lead time.
Yeah, big thanks to our broker, Young Greetson, for getting us hooked up with a lot of good experts.
He got us hooked up with wonderful, wonderful rigging fellow, Scott Nording.
Yeah.
And then the engine fellow, Steve Lynn, is wonderful. And Mike Peisel, the marine surveyor, was great. Yeah. Super knowledgeable, interesting fellow. He actually has written the definitive book on marine navigation that the American Sailing Association uses. So he was our surveyor.
Nice guy.
Super nice guy. And then we need to figure out the electrical backbone for the electronics. I think it's NMEA, but I'll get that figured out next time we're down there. So, and then, you know, all kinds of little bits of, I mean, we need new life vests. We got the nice offshore inflatable vests that pop when you hit the water. That way they're super comfortable.
And it's my job to keep those charged.
Yay, thank you, my beautiful
It's on my calendar.
So I would say one option you can do is buy a boat that has all those different things I mentioned fixed within like the last 5 years, including the standing rigging. Another option is just to do it our way and just count on a quarter to a third or maybe even half the cost of the boat you'll be spending again in the first year. Because our goal is to get it up to speed relatively quickly.
And to get ourselves up to speed relatively quickly.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is people approach it different ways. But our goal, for heaven's sakes, is to be out on the water and to have some joy and be rejoicing. That's why we named her that. Right. And so even though there are some people who would have said, okay, I'm going to take 3 weeks and fix all this stuff. Every last little thing is going to be perfect before I poke the bow out into the ocean. But we, all along the way, as you've seen in the videos, I think we're doing it safely and thoughtfully, but we're having fun. We're not letting this crush us.
And I really appreciate the patience and the time that you're taking with me, because I had never sailed before. So I learned, and we had a couple of lessons from Captain Dan. He was wonderful. So we're making probably every mistake that you can think of when we go out on the water, even though we have our pre-sale list.
We have not taken a knockdown.
No.
We've not done that.
It's just that we've only got both sails up both at the same time once. The other time we've had to rely just on one sail. So just for different reasons that we won't go into the details for here, but we're having a good time regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, we said it before, but I'm unbelievably grateful to Celia because I sailed for 20 years in my youth. At age 25 was the last time I raced. And I really thought I'd put that whole thing to bed. And then my dear wife said, you know, I think you should sail again, and we should get a sail.
Yeah, and the seasickness, it's only happened once, so we're doing it.
Yay! So hopefully this was helpful.
If you're looking for a boat,
is we'd love to add solar and/or a wind generator to be more self-sufficient. We'll see if
because we do plan to eventually do some longer trips and maybe anchor at least at Santa Cruz Island.
Yes.
And do some coastal sailing. Who knows what the future will hold?
Yeah, we watch Mullen and Ewan and Ron sailing. They've sailed so many places all over Europe, the Caribbean.
They're our inspiration.
Hawaii, Alaska, Canadian coast, U.S. West Coast. So we'll see. But
all right.
We may do a lot with it.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. And we would really appreciate if you would subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.
Okay.